this is the kind of thing that you just whip up. You don't have to have the shrimp. You can just do it with eggs. You can do it with mushrooms. You can do vegetables.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see it go in, baby. Show me on the camera. Let's get some shrimp in there, darling.
Get the eggs in, toss and stir, toss and stir. Yes, ma'am.
It's all hail Donham Kwale. Okay. Hello, darling Donald.
Hello.
How wonderful of you to join me.
Why, thank you. What an honor.
What an honor. Well, hardly an honor. I think with a pantry like yours that you told me about, I think some kind advice might not be a bad idea, hey? So for the viewers out there, this is my friend Donald, all the way from Joburg, Donald Makwale. He is the MD of Cara. He works in the media business. But even more interesting than that, because I mean, that's kind of interesting. He's also a performance poet and a slam poet, I think it's called. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
God, you learn something new every day. I'm obviously bloody ancient because my daughter knew what that was, but I wasn't quite sure. Right, now, before you start telling us all about the poetry, I want to know, we've got all our food lined up. We're going to make shrimp egg fried rice. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so you've got some defrosted shrimp. You've got some cooked rice.
Yes.
You've got some chopped onion.
Got some chopped onion.
Garlic, some ginger, some soy sauce.
Yes.
Right, we're going to make a bloody marvelous meal. Is your pan on?
My pan is on, Justine. My pan is on. There we go. I put on medium heat.
Medium heat is good. Let's put a bit of oil in that pan.
Yeah, I'm going to put a little bit of oil. A little bit of olive oil there. I won't say the name of the brand, won't I?
You can say any brand you like. Now to do, you don't
They're
have.
not paying.
You don't. I'm getting quite hot here. I'm flustered. The sexy black man in the room can't think straight. Okay, so now, basically, you wouldn't cook with olive oil. Doesn't matter because it's a waste of your money. And because in Chinese food, obviously, there's no olive oil, so they would use like peanut oil or
sesame oil.
Exactly. But anyway, olive oil is just fine. So toss your onions into the pan. Let's see how nicely you've chopped those.
Okay, so I'm going to tilt the camera so that you can be able to behold.
I love this high-tech stuff going on here.
So here we go. We've got some red onion.
Perfect. So how often do you cook at home, Donald?
I pretty much cook every other day.
Okay, what do you do for the days in between?
I cook every other day. So I mean, I cook a range. I cook a range of proteins, a range of vegetables, and of course my carbohydrates. So I try and switch it up, So on one day I'll have fish, and then on the next time I'll cook will probably be another different variation of meat. So it's either lamb or beef, or chicken. So it just kind of varies depending on how I feel. So yeah, that's every other day.
Let me see your lovely face again because I've lost you.
I'm Heather, madam.
There you are, darling. Right. So you cook just for yourself, or unless, of course, you can see friends when it's not locked down. And where did you learn?
Correct. Yeah. I pretty much taught myself. Yeah. I learned how to cook by watching the food channel.
That was the right answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with the food channel, so I'm always watching Iron Chef or Chopped or any of those, and I like experimenting.
Have you seen that one called The Final Plate?
No.
Oh, it's very cool. I think it's on Netflix. It's super cool. It's got like all the top chefs in the world, literally in the world. And they've all cooked dishes from each country, and then they're judged by food critics. And it's fascinating. In fact, there were even a South African team, which was quite exciting.
Wow. Okay. I need to check it out. I haven't seen that one. So thanks for letting me know.
So while your onions heating, talk to me about performance poetry and being a slam poet. What does it mean?
Oh my goodness. Being a slam poet is probably one of my favorite things in the world. So I started doing this probably around about 12 years ago, I started writing poetry as a teenager, right? Trying to kind of comment on what I was seeing, some of the social pressures that you would get as a teenager to be in one or more. So growing up in a township, right? So I grew up in a township where there were like three main subcultures that pretty much the teenagers would be part of. So either you were a hip hop head or an MC, right?
Yeah.
Which in the township they'd call him rapper, right? It's either you're a rapper or this subculture is weird, but it's called bourgeois. So, which was a derivative of bourgeoisie, but it changed meaning.
Yeah.
It literally changed meaning in a township, and that described a particular subculture of people who are a little bit more funky, more hip-like, hippie style, with really funky hairstyles and danced a particular way. So, the third one was Pantula, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Right. So I was starting to write about like all of that stuff, and then eventually, I fell in love with poetry as an art form, and then I started performing and then competing in performance poetry slams, of which I won a few, fortunately, and then started performing it across sub-Saharan Africa as well. So it's been a blessing. It's been incredible. I performed for the president.
No. Okay, wait. Let's start frying because I want to hear more about this. So are your onions sizzling a bit, babe?
My onion is sizzling officially.
Official sizzle. I like that. I like an official sizzle.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got an official sizzle.
Because this is a very quick and simple dish. You can put your garlic in and about like a sort of a heaped teaspoon of your crushed ginger. Let's just get that going.
Okay.
Which president,
garlic added.
Which president did you perform for?
The Ramaphosa himself. Now, at that time, obviously, he was the vice president, and I was supposed to perform for Jacob Zuma at the time. He was the main president for a ANC fundraising dinner. So what I do is I basically perform performance poetry for corporate events, for the rich and the famous. And so
that counts me out then. Shit, damn it.
It certainly helps, right? So I cracked a special invite to come and perform for the presidential, and they asked me to come and perform. And I pretty much went there and I did my thing, and I pretty much made enough money to go and fly to Italy for a holiday.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
And when you perform, do you write like bespoke things, or does it?
Yes. There's two ways. Just so the one is I perform. It depends on the brief, right? Because I'm in media, I always go, "What's your brief? What do you want me to do?" If the requirement is for me to perform something bespoke, then I will write that and I'll charge accordingly. But if it's just an entertainment kind of event where it's just come and entertain people, I'll normally perform for my inventory, right? For my stock of poems. So it kind of varies. Sometimes it's a little bit of both, and sometimes it's just bespoke, or sometimes it's just for my own inventory. So it varies depending on what's required.
And what do you enjoy doing the most? Making it up as you go along, or what's your sort of favorite part of doing it?
All of the above. My favorite part of doing it is often the reaction of women in the room. Yeah, because the interesting thing that I found is the moment you say poetry, people think old school, they think Shakespeare, they don't really understand performance poetry. And the nature of slam poetry is for it to be dynamic, for it to be relevant and modern and, really kind of artistic and hip. So the reaction to that, to the wordplay, to the punchlines is often like really incredible. So
is it sort of social commentary, social satire, that sort of thing?
100%. A comedy, a little bit of romance, a wit. So it's always about provoking thought, provoking a reaction, and really just making people fall in love with their inner child, right? And their inner, those aspects of themselves that they don't have time to celebrate or embrace. Their inner romantic sides and so on and so forth. So it's about that aspect. I really enjoy that. That's what I write about.
Loving this. And do your parents listen to you?
Yeah, my mother's my biggest fan. She absolutely just imbibes the stuff.
Oh, bless her heart. All right, how's our frying coming along?
Our frying is coming along nicely. Okay, I'm going to show you now. I'm going to leave this thing slide forward. Here we go. So it's coming along quite nice.
Very nice.
It smells divine.
Okay, so that ginger and everything is going to. Fab. It's just frozen slightly there, which is good because I suppose our viewers can kind of see what's going on. And hopefully this will just okay. All right.
Am I back?
We're back. We had an unstable internet connection. I think I love it when they say that. I think you know how much is unstable about this country. It's not just not the
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be fun if you got that warning if you're in a relationship as well? Your relationship is currently unstable.
Unstable.
So that
if we're sizzling away, I think you can get let's get some shrimp in there, darling. Like if it's I don't know, you know how much you eat, so it's up to you.
I eat a lot, Justine. I eat a lot, so I'm gonna put all of it in.
Excellent. So in the East, this is the kind of dish that's made like as a quick and easy kind of weeknight meal. Because they're always eating rice with all their food, there's always leftover rice. So this is the kind of thing that you just whip up. You don't have to have the shrimp. You can just do it with eggs. You could do it with mushrooms. You could do it with vegetables. My daughter often eats it just with egg and rice and spring onions. So it's the kind of thing. It's not a bad idea for somebody like you to keep frozen rice and the cooked rice in the fridge, and you can do this in probably under 10 minutes.
Excellent.
Which is no.
Music to my ear. So I've just added in the shrimp. It's sizzling away as well.
Okay, we want it to sizzle. We're stir frying here, so you can turn it up a bit.
Exactly. You just read my mind. I've just done that. Yeah.
Here we go. So now you've got a girlfriend. I mean, I'm just presuming this lovely man like you must have a girlfriend.
Indeed, I do.
Okay, but she's not with you in the lockdown.
No, she is not. I am left in the trenches all alone by my lonesome.
I'm so sorry to hear that. But at least a pink gin or something to help you along the way. What is that? Or is it a...
This is the Sugar Bird. I've got a liter of it.
Oh, lucky you.
And I promise I'm not advertising, but this thing's divine.
Oh, divine. I don't care if you are advertising. If you like it, you like it. That's the truth of it. Perfect. So a little pink gin.
I do have a cemetery that I'd like to show you, Justin. I think you'll appreciate this. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I need to count you down. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Woo! Oh my dear.
This is my cemetery. It is my cemetery.
Long and lonely lockdown, eh?
Oh my goodness! So as you can see, I've done quite a bit of damage to my wine collection.
Yes, so have I. No, so have I. crying shame, but I'm determined to soldier forth bravely. You know, somebody has to.
Somebody has to. We don't have a choice, Justine.
Okay, how are those shrimp doing? Are they sort of sizzling away?
They are sizzling away. The heat is certainly responding quite nicely to them, and they're coming along. It needs a few more minutes.
You can sort of start to smell them.
Yes.
Then you're going to take your rice, your cooked rice, and you're going to stir it in there and start to toss everything about.
Is this the part where I toss it about like a chef?
Yeah. If you've got that knack going, I mean, I invite you to. This is your time to show off, babe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Dunk that.
I'll try my hand at that. That's saute motion.
So now, okay. So I want to go back to this poetry. So you said there were the 3 influences from the township. So what was yours? Was there one that was more than the other?
So I danced Pantsula dance.
Did you?
I was an official dancer. I literally used to dance at shows, and we'd compete with other schools. I thoroughly enjoyed that dance. And then I started adapting a little bit of bourgeois dance as well into my routines with the friends. And then I think over time, I fell in love with hip hop because of the poetry angle. So I've pretty much done all 3, right? And so now I'm in a space in my life where I say that I dance with words. So call me a pantsula.
Okay, nice. When
so that's
your pantsula, do you actually move? Do you dance at all, or is the dance in the words only?
it's generally the dance and the words only, unless it's the piece is such that it requires the physical movement in order for it to. I can smell the shrimp now. I'm gonna toss in my rice.
Right, let's see it go in, baby. Show me on the camera. Down a bit.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Nice. So is this basmati rice you've got?
Yes, I've got a cup of basmati rice here.
Perfect.
All of it, should I toss all of it in?
Well, depends how hungry you are, darling.
I'm positively famished, Justine.
I can see that. Okay, then. Now, do you have...
I'm positively famished, Justine, so
I like
I'm not playing games with you.
I'm just going to walk around my house and get a glass of wine while I'm talking to you. Now, do you have 2 wooden spoons, darling, by any stretch of the imagination?
I do indeed.
Because sometimes what's easier to do is to actually use 2 spoons and sort of like toss it like a salad. Just makes life slightly easier.
If I can find my other wooden spoon, here we go. Okay, so toss it like a salad, huh?
Toss it like that. You know what I'm most impressed about? I'm most impressed by your chefs, but by your mise en place. Your mise en place is all your little chopped bits in the Tupperware containers. It's very impressive. Very impressive.
I'm emulating my favorite shows, Justine.
Yeah, I can tell. You've been watching them seriously.
Indeed, I'm obsessed. I'm really obsessed. I love those shows. Master Chef, all of those guys. I can watch. Iron Chef is like my favorite. I even like Knife Fight. Are you familiar with a show called Knife Fight?
No.
So there's a show on the cooking channel called Knife Fight, where what they do is they bring in some of the best chefs from the restaurants around, and they'll bring them to compete against each other. And then there'll be a winner. So they'll give them, it's very similar to Chopped. They'll give them specific ingredients, and they'll want to see how creatively they'll do with those ingredients and come up with really unique dishes. Usually just 3 starter, main, and a dessert.
And have you ever made any of these things? Some
of them. I have. I'll be honest, and I'll admit I have made some of it. Some of them I've tried, and they've been delicious. I've been quite proud of myself with some of these.
Well done, because I mostly watch these things and never bother to try them, but I'm glad somebody is. That's the main thing.
Absolutely. I live alone, so I can always just be creative here. And if it sucks and it doesn't come out great, there's nobody to complain.
No one's going to know. Perfect. Don, if you want your rice to get like slightly hot, because we're going to add the egg, but we can't add the egg unless the rice is already a little bit hot.
Rice. So when you heat up the rice, I'm heating up the rice. I'm tossing it now.
Okay.
It's heating up quite nicely, Justine.
Cool. So when it starts to heat up now, people do egg fried rice in 2 different ways. Some people fry their egg and sort of stir it in. But I actually like to put it through the rice and it sort of starts to cook, and then everything gets the same sort of flavors. I always find if you cook the egg separately, it isn't quite as delicious. So when you think it's a bit hot, you're just going to sort of break the eggs in and then start to toss and stir and toss and stir.
Break the eggs in, toss and stir, toss and stir. Yes, ma'am.
Great at instruction, hey? Loving that.
You're phenomenal. You're phenomenal.
Your girlfriend likes it. So now what I want to know is, what's the first meal you're going to eat when you get out of lockdown?
That is a very interesting question. It's probably going to be some Scottish salmon.
Scottish salmon. Raw in soup, or cooked, or what would you like?
I need to decide. Either it's going to be some Scottish salmon in a poke bowl.
Yeah.
Or in a sushi.
Or everybody says, well, not everybody, but 99% of people say sushi. It's bizarre. Sushi or pizza have come up like as the
a million times, I imagine. Yeah. I mean, it's available now, to be honest. So it's almost like you can't really say you can have pizza after lockdown because level 4 has allowed us to actually get it delivered to our homes.
I had
right?
one
So,
the other night. It was outstanding. But I mean, there is something about sitting in the restaurant with a bottle of wine and some friends. You know what I mean? It's kind of
right? I miss that so much, Justine. Are you joking? I mean,
yeah. No, I'm also
if there's I miss the most, it's certainly that. Yeah, just sharing a meal with a bottle of wine with excellent riveting conversation.
exactly. It does get a bit. Well, look. I mean, I do love my family, and there's a lot of us in our sort of compound, we call it, because we share a sort of. We all sort of own a big property, and we have got separate sort of dwellings, and so we're all together.
Okay. So you've got your family. Okay, that's amazing. That's
Very sad.
perfect.
So we're never short of a little conversation and a bit of a party, but I think even we are getting little jaded. Do you know what I mean?
Quite naturally.
Yeah.
Quite.
How's your rice, babe?
My rice. Let me show you, Justine. Boom. Excuse the slight mess. I am after all.
No, that's looking great. The egg's in there, hey? I can see that.
Yeah, it's cooking. It's cooking quite nicely.
Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to add a whole lot of soy sauce. When I say a whole lot, I don't mean a whole lot. I mean like maybe a quarter cup.
Okay.
And you could add a little squeeze of lemon.
Okay.
Now, in a perfect world, which I mean, we've realized we are not in anymore.
Far from it.
Yeah, you would have sesame oil, not any old sesame oil, just a toasted sesame oil. Just some people go and buy plain sesame oil, doesn't taste like anything. Toasted sesame oil really brings this dish to life, but it's not critical. It's just a nice to have.
Got you.
All right. It's looking
It's
very, very nice.
Spice. That I've got my lemon.
Got a little, okay, you want like half of, yeah, that's perfect.
I'm squeezing some lemon juice into this.
Then you can season it and toss it about a bit. And then we're going to toss in some fresh coriander and you're pretty much done.
What do you recommend I season it with, Justine?
Some salt and pepper, darling.
Some salt and pepper.
And if you eat it, if you want to add some chili, if you're a chili guy, it is great with chili. But now I want to go back to the other very fascinating and particularly wonderful thing to have discovered about you, which I didn't know. I think every time I see you, we're either talking about work or we're partying and not talking about other things.
This is true.
You're a rape activist.
Yes. So I did quite a bit of work. I did quite a bit of work around rape. Well, I mean, at that time we used to, I'd say, rape culture.
Yeah.
And it was at a time when the rape statistics were saying that every 17 seconds a woman is raped in South Africa. Just chopping up a little bit of chili.
Excellent choice.
And so it was something that completely touched me. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was at the time based in America. And so I remember them saying this. I mean, the stat that just came out is completely mind-boggling, and it's scary and it's frightening, and it's making all of us very angry. And then I remember her saying to me, "What are you going to do about it? What are we going to do about it?" And then I said, "Well, I can only do so much. I mean, I'm an artist." And she said, "Well, I've got connections. I work at the Solidarity Center in South Africa, and I've got access to people like gender specialists and such." So we were like, "Why don't we do a live art active documentary?" But what we do is, instead of it just being an artistic thing or just a docu, we actually like track the lives of the people that are part of it to see if the work that we've done actually made a difference in terms of how they perceive rape and rape culture in South Africa. So fortunately, there was a professor of film and videography from the University of North Carolina who volunteered his time and came and flew down to shoot the documentary with us. And what we did is we went to a school in Alex, and we took our gender specialists and we did a number of focus groups to get an understanding of what they viewed rape culture to be. And then from there, from those insights, I then wrote out a poem about it, which I taught. We chose a number of boys in that school, and then we taught them how how to recite the poem, and then we went and started performing this in real life in taxi ranks. So I then brought on a couple of my actor friends of mine, and what they did is they reenacted a violent scene of a woman kind of being violated by a man in public, and people were watching this, right? And there wasn't much reaction, exactly what we had anticipated, because it's so normal. It's like nobody was doing anything with it. And then we then jumped in with the boys and started performing in response to what people were watching, and then it became a social commentary piece, and that went viral at that time. So it was quite a bit of work that we did. So yeah, it was kind of my contribution. I think some of the
anybody who's working to prevent rape is wonderful, but when it's a man, I'm even more delighted. I knew I loved and adored you, but now it's all hail Donham Kwale, because I tell you what, you're my new perfect hero. And cooking, activism, hey, and pink gin, and coriander. Okay, so you're going to toss a bit of coriander in there, and then my angel, you're going to taste it and tell me how you fared and how my instructions have been.
I'm going to finely chop a little bit of coriander here.
I'm loving this apron, the whole trip. Definitely a cat. Eh?
I had to dress to impress, Justine.
No, listen. I think
I need to have you on the show.
Sorry?
I said when you called me and said you needed to have me on the show, I said, you know what? I need to dress to impress.
I would be surprised if you get a whole lot of dates from this. Sorry to Lazan, the girlfriend, but I'm telling you what, you got a whole lot of stuff going. You're going to get it. It'll be like Tinder, cooking Tinder.
It'll be like swipe right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna taste it now.
You might need more soy. You never know.
Oh my God.
Any good?
I definitely need more soy.
Good.
But it tastes fine. It tastes absolutely delicious.
Does it really? You could be on reality TV here.
This is absolute reality TV 101. I'm not saying I made it. I'm saying it legit because I really think it's amazing.
Okay, yay. So now you know how to make how to make fried rice. You can add anything.
And you know what? I'm such a fan. I'm a very big fan of fried. Whenever I do have Chinese, I always have a side of egg fried rice.
There we go, baby. You see, now you can make your own. Who cares about the love?
And this was really quick.
And we got to chat about you, which made me happy. I got to have some wine. Donald, thank you, my darling. Will you do me a favor? Will you put it in a bowl and photograph it and send it to me so that everyone can see your startling achievement?
With absolute pleasure. I'm doing it right away, Justine.
Thank you for coming on Just Cook at Home, from your home to my home, with a drink. Cheers, my angel.
Cheers, Justine.
Cheers, darling.
Have a great one. Thank you for having me.
Stay safe.
You too.